So we're going to go to sketch mode and we're going to select the same plane we'd been working in as our sketch plane. I always like to start out looking at the sketch plane normal. And on this end, because we have a tab left in the middle, the geometry we're going to make are two rectangles. And on this one, I'm switching back to corner. Select on the edge of the model for the first corner so it anchors it. And then we're going to go below center line and repeat that procedure. Okay. Now we're going to do a couple constraints here to make sure that this is set up proportional, least amount of dimensions as possible. So if I hold the control key down, I'm going to select the lines that make up the end lines, and we're going to select collinear. And then we're also going to select that those are going to be equal in length. So we only have to dimension one of these boxes. By default, by putting the collinears, once we dimension the length of it, they will be the same size. Now we just need to center these features on center line. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a center line. And you can either draw it from corner to corner or from midpoint to midpoint. Same effect. And what we want to do is exit the line mode. And we want to try to select the center point of the center line we just made. Hold the control key down and we're going to pick the plane that makes up the top view and make that coincident. So this center line always has to be centered on that plane with the distance between the two boxes there. Alright, now let's put a length on them. So we're going to make sure that no matter what size we make these features, if we measure from the extents of the revolution, we'll go 0.1. That's, I guess that doesn't. It could be just 0.01, I guess. If we increase the size of this boss parametrically, it always make the cut larger. And then we're going to do the same, or if we change these fillet sizes. So we're going to do the same thing with the distance between here and the end of the part. We call it 0.01. And we have most of this constrained. What we don't have constrained is this we want to constrain vertically, so you may have automatically got that snap. I didn't. Is going to end up being the width of the tab. That's the material that's going to be remaining. So our tab is 63 thousandths wide. So 0.063, change the tolerance to 3 places, and accept. Alright, we now should have a fully constrained sketch, which I do. So we're going to exit the sketch, leave it highlighted, and again we're going to go back to features, and we're going to do an extruded cut, and we're going to rotate to a 3D view, and we're going to make that through all features, and then we're going to select the second direction and have it go through all features. So that's, again, we're cutting like a cookie cutter from the center of the part outwards. All right, there we go. We have our tab. Now all we have left is the features that come in from the front view that are the holes. Okay, make sure you're saving at this point. And now we're going to put in our holes. Now the holes are 2 different diameters, but we can do them in the same sketch. And I'm going to elect to do them as just simple cuts. So there's nothing fancy about them. They just have fairly tight tolerances on their diameters, but there's not a lot going on the feature. So we're going to sketch onto the front view. Okay, and We'll suspect that's the back of the front view. No, here's the front view. Okay. This little icon here means go back to previous view, so it keeps the prior few views in the system. Okay. All right, so we got our side view, front view, and we're going to do a sketch of a circle. We're going to plant that on the plane so we get at least the center line snapped in, and then we'll place our second one. We're going to give each its dimension. So the one on the right hand side I believe is bigger. It's for a slip fit, and it's called at 63 to 65, so we're going to shoot in the middle of that with 64.064. And then the one over here is a tight tolerance for a press fit for a 16th pin, and the dimension on that is 61 to 59, so we're going to go with 60 thousandths, which would be the center of that. 0.06. Accept. And again, we want 3 places on both of these. That way we can differentiate them. Because they are not the same size. Okay, so now we're going to do our linear dimensions. So we're going to go from the base of the part, like the drawing shows, and up. And we're going to look at our drawing. That dimension is 60 thousandths, 0.06. And then we're going to go look at the drawing and see what the relationship is. So their dimensions, so the first hole has to be 60 thousandths plus or minus 10 thousandths from the end, but the center to center dimension is 906 plus or minus 5. So they want to make sure that that hole spacing stays within 5 thou tolerance. So we're going to put in 0.096 or 906 thousandths distance between the two holes. So we pick up the first hole and then the second hole, and we put in 0.906, and remember to increase your tolerance settings. Okay, there we go. We should have a fully constrained sketch now. We're going to exit the sketch, make sure it's highlighted. We're going to go to features. We're doing an extruded cut. We're going to rotate to a 3D view so we can actually see the cut. We're going to change it from the default of blind to through all, or you can select through all both and it'll do both directions. Probably should have done that on the prior commands. And it automatically puts in direction 2 through all for you. Okay, there we go. You now have the -117 modeled in full, and you can set the material like in prior ones to brass for this part, and we'll turn off the planes so we can see the part more clearly. Okay, don't forget to save it, upload it in native format in Canvas, and we're going to move on to the next one, which the next 2 tutorials should be shorter because we're going to use copies of this model to create modifications of this model to create the 143 and the 145. Alright, so I'll catch you on the next one.